Good afternoon. Today I want us to discuss the Earth and the solar system. So solar system is the group of heavenly bodies comprising the sun and the 9 planets. Very first, we look at the composition of the solar system. And number one is the sun. That is the center of the universe. Characteristics, it is a star. The sun is just like a star. And a star is a heavenly processing. It being called a star, it's because it is a heavenly processing. It transports and transmits its own light. Then we have the Earth is in a galaxy called the Milky Way. It's made of very hot gases, mainly hydrogen, that is 70%, and the helium, that is 30%. Then it has a diameter of 1392 kilometers. Is surrounded by a layer of gas which has boiled from its surface, which is called corona. We have other composition of the Earth, the solar system, that is the 9 planets. But before we look at the 9 planets, we can look at the theories for the shaping of the Earth. And a theory is a set of reasoned ideas intended to explain facts or events. The first theory that explains how the shape of the Earth came to be is the passing star theory. Now it says that a star with a greater gravitational pull passed near the sun, and this star attracted large quantities of gaseous materials from the sun. And then later the materials split, cooled and condensed to form planets, and the planets were set in the orbit by the passing star. So the theory is just simple. It just says that once there was a star that existed, and the star had a greater gravitational pull near the sun. When it was passing, it attracted some materials, and these materials later splitted, and then they cooled, and then they condensed to form the planets. And the planets were set in orbit by the passing star. That is what arranged them. But we have the weaknesses of this passing star theory. Number one, it doesn't really explain the origin of the sun and the star. It is just saying that once there was a star, but the origin of this star is not really explained. And again, it says that this star, it pulled some, it ran across the sun and pulled some materials, but we are not being told the origin of this sun that passed near that the star passed near it and drew some materials. Then there is a minimal chance of a star approaching another. Then materials would disperse rather than condense. Material would split, but instead of disperse, we are being told they condensed. The second theory is the collision theory, and it states that a star with a greater gravitational pull passed near the sun, the same as, it's more or less the same as the passing stars theory that also talked about the star. Then it attracted large quantities of gaseous material. Then the materials split into portion. Now, when you compare this theory with the passing star theory, you see that in passing star theory, the star that passed around the sun pulled some materials, but when you look at the collision theory, it attracted large quantities of gaseous material. Now, this one specifically attracted gaseous materials, and the materials split into portions. Large portions collided with smaller ones and swept them to form planets, as the term suggests, collision. So large portions collided with the smaller ones and swept them to form planets. Then the weaknesses of are of the same as the passing stars theory, because you can see it also talks about, it measures about sun and star, and the origin of the sun and the star is not clearly stated. The next theory is nebula cloud theory. So there was a it says that there was a slowly rotating cloud of dust and gas called nebula. So these clouds pulled and began to contract. Then rotation speed increased and successive rings of gaseous materials were formed. The rings condensed to form planets, and then the central gaseous material remained as the sun. So it is just simple that there was a slowly rotating cloud of dust and gas called nebula. So this slowly rotating cloud of dust, it cooled and began to contract. Then as the rotation increased, the speed increased, there were successive rings of gaseous materials that were being formed. Then the rings condensed to form planets. And then later on, the central gaseous material remained as the sun, then the other ones surrounded it as the planets. Evidence, rotation and revolution of planets in anti-clockwise direction weaknesses. Then the evidence is that rotation and revolution of planets in anti-clockwise direction. That is the evidence that really the nebula cloud theory happened. Then the weaknesses we have that the origin of nebula is not explained. We're just being told that it was a slowly rotating cloud of dust and gas, but we are not told the origin. So the next thing that we look at is rotation and revolution of planets. And then there was a violet explosion of star. A cloud of dust nebula remained from the star. There was fast movement of the cloud due to the force of explosion. Rotation speed increased due to gravitational attraction. We are now accounting for the various activities that occurred during the nebula cloud theory. Then the cloud flattened into a disk. The matter began to accumulate towards the center to form a proto-sun, which later began to shine. So the rest of the cloud collapsed. Having done that, we continue to the other composition of the Earth and the solar system, that is the planets. So in our next class, that is what we will do, the planets.